pointing to that he, made a, there's a lot of, this Gary Metz is, saying that he's, doing this and that and whatever, and, all these frauds and whatever. That's actually an interesting thing that I found in one of the articles, where people were sending him money to his ministry, and the article said that he actually told people that, they shouldn't send money to the ministry, because that was in regards to the Knights of Malta or something like that, on the post office that, took the money, opened the letters and took the money and all that. I guess that, it's just a little, it just seems like, if he was, so into, oh, well, I don't know. Again, there's so many things, right? It's, but it seems like they're really, like he's really into it for the money and all that, that seems to be what they're trying. But yeah, think about it, it seems like he was probably murdered. So what did he actually get, what did he actually get out of it? Think about it. What did he get out of it besides a huge amount of persecution, like many others out there that actually, exposes the Roman Catholic Church? He got a lot of, persecution. And, I guess, going after the Roman Catholic Church might not be the most easy thing in life, in regards of in regards of conflicts and so forward. So that seems kind of strange. So I think there's a lot of lies about him and slander and all that. I must say, it's still having difficult with it, this and that and so forward. Just but yeah, it would really be nice to get to the bottom of all this, and so I can really, because again, he's speaking a lot of truth, and if I can verify that he had totally, that he, no, he looks, it's just, so, but if I can conclude that he absolutely was for real, then it would expose a lot of the wolves in sheep clothing that is trying to discredit him. So that would of course open up another, in regards of discerning who is actually, in regards of the wolves in sheep clothing and all that. So, but yeah, again, when you see all these attacks and these attacks are not getting, what do you call it, when there's not, provided the evidence for it, it seems fishy, it just seems like that. And we know that if he's speaking the truth, we know that the Roman institution would react to it. That would be, of course they would react to it. If he's a former Jesuit, absolutely they would react to Alberto Rivera. And again, as we see that they closed, the magazines, they wouldn't sell, the things, they closed down from different places and all that. It's interesting, banned from different bookstores and all that. And again, Alberto is speaking the truth about this. You can verify that by his opponents or whatever you want to call it, that is verified. So that's the thing, if you can see what he says and what his opponent says that tries to discredit him, well, at least that seems to be pretty certain then that this is true, right? So, of course, the problem is when the things conflict in regards of what he says and what they say. So, yeah. So again, it's just well, that was interesting. I can't remember what it was, but it just when they try to make him out like a money hungry person and all that, just seems kind of, it doesn't. Actually, is there any video I've seen of him where he actually talks about people sending him money? Of course, there's videos about in regards of his material and all that. Trying to get the word out in regards of the material that he has at his ministry, like tapes and so forward. But is there any place where he actually, begs of, like, one of these TV preachers and all that, money, 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 it's like, send me money, I need a new airplane or whatever, and oh yeah, if you send me money, and just like these people that clearly is in it for the money, the love of money. But it doesn't really strike me that Rivera was in it for the money. That's just, it seems probably slander in regards of him. I do wonder where the thing was in regards of this, where it talked about that he had sent out a message to the people that maybe it was on the Catholic website actually, that that Alberto had written out that don't send me money because in regards of the Knights of Malta or the Knight of Columbus, in regards of the post office are opening my letters and taking out the money. So, and that might seem a little, what shall we say, that might seem a little over the, but of course they would be knights of, the Catholic insane institution, and that would probably feel they would do a good thing, stopping this, evil Alberto Rivera, right? That is discounting and destroying, the so-called holy religion and so forth. Anyway, so again, the claims, that Alberto makes seem so, extraordinary. But the question is it true? And that's the thing, because again, it seems like his claims are being verified again and again and again. So these slanderers. It just seems more like slander, from maybe I just need some more years to be, more able to discern what is true and what is not true and all that. But I should really order that book in regards of Is Alberto for Real, and look at what he himself says in regards of his information, because it's that was his. That was another article as well on Spanish. I really would like to get get my hands in as well. The more information you get through, the bigger the chance that if there's anything, if there's any problem here and there. Of course, that would also be on the other side. If these people that says he's not a former Jesuit, the more that I would read from them, the more issues would probably come up, where I'm like, oh, this is, and then again, begin to see a pattern, or, and then of course that would. If that is the case, then it would pretty much open up for, in regards of actually who is actually, who might actually be working for Rome, proclaiming themselves Protestants, and who is actually, clean in regards to, So we had this other priest that. Took got in contact with Alberto Rivera, and he released a book himself, which, as I understand, was mostly in regards of the Jesuit or Catholic infiltration of the U.S. and what they do. And so, but he died, or according to Alberto, was murdered. According to the cartoon that he made, it's just incredible. The guy that's the so-called Lutheran coming to no, of course I don't know this guy that came to, but that that he's saying like, well, I don't give my information from cartoons. Like a cartoon can't have truth in it, it's just stupid, And actually, when I'm thinking about it, why is there actually not more cartoons made with truth? Why are we having all these stupid cartoons that is just, again, this this amusing thing. It was like it's like the movies and the video games and all that. It's like, why are we into all these stupidities, Why isn't there more cartoons that is actually based on truth, Because most that I can remember, like Donald Duck, for example, it's not based on truth. It's based, fictive things, vanity. I think I had 200 books of, 200 or nearly. I had a lot anyway. Maybe I'm over, but I had a lot of these big books in regards of stories from, it's just, what did I learn? Nothing. Absolutely. Yeah, well, of course, I might have learned some Danish and all that by reading those, but why not fix that with true history instead? Why have these stupidity? Yeah, well, I guess there must be maybe small cartoons out there that actually have some historical facts or whatever. Could be, would be nice with, maybe some in regards of Protestants history and all that. There's huge amount of great history in regards of the Protestants and all that. That would be, great cartoons. Yet most of the cartoons that you see is like, these pagan superheroes or, filthy things, that is, it's just, or just vanity, empty air, and, just, so again, why wouldn't you be able to get truth from cartoons, that's so anyway, I guess, actually, the most, in regards of cartoons, the most, well, there's information in it, would probably be those Jack Chick cartoons, Well, you have a huge amount of history and cartoon at the same time. Yet I still have some issues in regards of they depict God. You have occult symbols in the magazines as well. I'm still afraid that they might actually be a Trojan horse. Now, I don't, again, I'm still on because I know I was spiritually attacked by the, and the question is, was it because I put I took a cursed item in my home, or was it because the information was, damaging to Satan, I had this urge when I had these cartoons, which I was like, where's this thing coming from, because this is not normal. So again, I ended up destroying all my cartoons. I bought all the cartoons of and the small booklets and all that, and I read them all. So, but I really had these these spiritual attacks. So I ended up. I was afraid. I was had taken in an accursed item. Or maybe more than one, but in regards of all these, because they're depicting God, and we're told, not to. And again, if Satan would, damage a Christian, well, it would be a great tool to, have truth, yet being a Trojan horse, so you get an accursed item in your home at the same time. So he feeds you some truth, yet, having a Trojan, and I don't know. It's just. I having difficulties with these things, and pretty much my urge stopped when I, this filthy urge I had, and the spiritual attacks pretty much, went off when I destroyed the cartoons. But again, why did I have it? Again, it could also be that the information in them, that they didn't want me to, that the demons didn't want me to have that information, or, maybe share the information. Again, I can't. I'm having issues with discerning that and finding out what was actually going on. I just don't know. This is one of the things that I really just don't know. And having a hard time, grasping. But, I wouldn't normally have occult images, when becoming Christian and all that. In regards of occult images, you destroy a lot of the things that you had from the occult. and that also is symbols and all that. I had necklaces and in regards of occult necklaces, and I just also from my childhood I had this in regards of the waterman and so forth. What is it called? Aquarius and all that. But this is paganism. Why would I have anything? So I destroyed everything, and yeah. So in regards of these star signs that we also just have some, like, you have a magazine. Oh yeah, I can read my star sign and all that. No, go get away from that stuff. That's a pagan stupidity and all that. And that's the thing, in regards of these different signs, and people are like, oh, what sign are you, and this and that, right? Just give me a great. Anyway, so I remember that, I destroyed a lot of the things. I also made these flowers of life and all that, and I used a long time actually making them from scratch and all that. And you really have to be careful, because if you're going a little off in regards of a flower of life, well, it begins to mess up. So you have to be in any case. I destroyed those that I had because, again, I was but by having these magazines, you see that they are exposing. These magazines are exposing a lot of things in regards of the occult. Absolutely, there's no. And I absolutely could verify things in them in regards of being truthfully. It's not everything that I could verify, but in regards of my background, I absolutely. But the thing is, these magazines had occult imagery in them, and and it was talked. I remember one of the information in the magazines that don't worry about the these occult signs, because there needs to be a spell or whatever on these before they it's a kind of danger or thing and all that, and I'm not so at least that. So yeah, it's think about it. Think about it. It would be a great Trojan horse for Satan. Think about it. These. I don't know if but think about it. Satan had. You have these Christians looking for truth and all that, and in regards of how would you damage these Christians? Well, if you can get a a cursed item into their home, you might be able to damage them, in that direction, and so I really don't know in regards of it. I really have a hard time, figuring this out, really have a hard time. Again, the Bible says we shouldn't depict God, and yet these magazines were depicting God, and I just felt uncomfortable about that. I felt uncomfortable about them, these magazines having occult imagery, and they're promoting the heaven-hell doctrine as well, which, as far as I can see, goes back to paganism, and in regards to the Roman Catholic Church believes it, and the Mohammedans have some of the same thing and all that. So that's also some issues that I have there. So and the King James onlyness thing, that I'm not ascribing to that either. So that's another issue I would have. So I just don't know. I really don't know. I'm really having a hard time figuring this out. Again, it it's just I'm just swaying. It's just like I can trying to. It could be a deception on a deception on a deception, just to make people like me really. But again, Alberto is, for example, Alberto is really. I can't remember if there's actually any images of God in the Alberto cartoons. I can't remember if they're actually depicting God in them. It wouldn't be a surprise if they actually depict them last or something like that, when they put out the in regards of being saved and all of that. And again, it's just I'm just yeah, I'm not comfortable with them depicting God or having things that depict God. I wouldn't make myself something that depicts God. We shouldn't make any images of God and so forth. Yeah, it's just that just seems. I just don't know. It's just. I'm getting. I just don't know about this. There's so much truth in regards of Albert. He provides so much truth and so many things that just goes over your head, and then you find out these things are true, and you study and you find out that so many of the things that he says is true. Of course, it would be a great deception if you actually put out some guy and then put out some other guys. Again, controlled opposition is better than oppositions that that you don't control. But yet again, it seems like Jack Chick was pretty straightforward in regards of actually understanding there was a battle going on between the truth and the Roman Catholic Church, which of course is full of darkness and deception and lies. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I just don't know. I really have issues with it, and I don't know why I could really. Well, of course, looking more into it and trying to figure things out, but it's just. There's this book in regards to the Alberto. If for real, I should really, really get it and read it. At least I will have his view on it. Yeah. It's not easy. Okay. And Donald that actually writes these letters. He says he worked with him. Yeah, I don't know. It would be nice to for example, Eric Phelps, for example, if he could give share some light on that. If I could get a hold on Eric Phelps or something like that, or maybe some of the others that are in these. Yeah. And then we have in regards of John Todd and the Closet Witches. I'm not sure in regards of. I probably read about them in regards to the cartoons. Now it's a couple of years ago since I had the cartoons. And I pretty much was like, okay, I read it and was huge amount of the things in Alberto's magazines. Actually, by the way, if there was anything that was very interesting in regards of these magazines, it was Alberto's cartoons, Of course, the other ones did have something in regards of creation and all that, and witchcraft and, these different topics and all that, and having occult stuff in, and, imagery and all that. But I must say that it, if anything of these cartoons was really, it would be Alberto's. But again, I'm still kind of, somewhat uncomfortable. I really have it's I just can't seem to actually get Well, it's nice in regards of you get more used to some of the words, you get more into like Secret Agent of Rome, for example. That's pretty so sadly I found out that many false professors in the ecumenical movement had done good research into Rivera's life. Yeah, but well, in regards to the ecumenical movement, that would be absolutely nothing I would have want to have affiliated with, because ecumenical movement leads to Rome, and getting the so-called Protestants back to under the wings. It's very sad to see. I guess the problem is that a lot of these things, I didn't live at that time. I was born according to the Roman calendar, pagan calendar in 1984, and yeah, so it's really. And I wasn't, I'm not from the U.S., so that's another problem in regards of knowing what is true and what is not. And the further away we get from the less hot the leads are in regards of testimonies and so forward. I see number 10 here in regards of what does he say here? Yeah, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What is these actually? I guess I'm getting a little tired, because I haven't slept. Again, I have these bad rhythms. Okay, he's making up these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's check number 10. He says, he also says number 9, Rivera did my baptism after I left Romanism, and he is in all my wedding pictures and video. Well, if that's the case, wouldn't it be nice to actually provide some evidence for that? One thing is to say something, another thing is to actually prove that this is the case. And wouldn't it be very easy to actually prove this? Actually, this guy should be able to actually be able to show that if he is, without any issue and all that, and actually have, and actually was, here is saying that, he's, and he is in all my wedding pictures and video. Well, would be nice to see that, just to see that he's speaking the truth, right? Because, it seems there seems to be a lot of allegations and all that. So that would be a nice thing to see, because that would verify if he actually, at least had contact with Alberto, right? So, because, I can't really, I guess I should probably go into Chick publication website and read more about it as well, because they made also some defense in regards of it and all that. Again, I just don't really, yeah, there should be enough in the documentation I've sent out, and in both my tapes is Alberto for real, and Sean Wilcox's tape, Alberto Rivera, a false brother. I might actually have seen that in regards of, on YouTube, in regards of Alberto false brother. I didn't really think it was anything, and they just say, to make the brethren aware that Rivera was not what he professed to be, he was not a Christian man, and all other judgments about Rivera should begin with the fact. Well, again, again, anybody could say, could slander the guy, it's just, that's the thing, I'm still, more in the direction that Alberto is for real, I'm really more over there, and that the other guys are actually slandering him. And we also have some, we had the priest that died, that was probably murdered, or at least that was what Alberto said, and, that's probably, wouldn't be a surprise that if that was true, there's so many other, but I can't really verify it. But anyway, and then we have a bishop saying that Alberto was for real. Now, of course, they have tried to discount this other bishop, but there seems to be pictures as well in regards to this bishop and so forward. So, and he seems to say that that Alberto was for real and so forward. And there's a lot of things in regards of him in Spanish, but He wasn't that good at speaking English, but in regards to Spanish, there seems to be a lot of sources in regards of him in Spanish, but I don't know Spanish, so that's a problem. So again, I don't have access to that information, even if he has, but it seems like he's talking about the Antichrist system and all that, and actually talking against Rome. So anyway, number 10 here. The Vatican is the mother harlot. The denominations and other false religions are her daughters, and the Jesuits are her most evil servants. This I know and preach along with the person of Christ and the duty of believers in seeking after holiness. This experience with Rivera taught me that there are many that will unite together against the Pope, the so-called Pope, and his false religion, but there are few of them that unite in humbleness before Christ, who hold sound doctrine and walk in the light themselves. This just seems a little, and the funny thing as well, I guess, is that in regards of the mother harlot and in regards of the daughters and all that, it seems to be actually one of the things that Alberto really promoted as well. So that's kind of an interesting, and then, saying that, and his false religion, but there are few of them that unite in humbleness before Christ, who hold sound doctrine and walk in the light themselves. Well, it just sounds, it seems a little bitchy. We don't have that many that actually stands against Romanism. So just having people actually standing against the system is in itself, I think, a wonderful thing when people are standing against the system. So, to promote, to tell the truth about these things. That was the whole idea with the Protestants. They spoke the truth about this system. Now, Luther did have his issues for sure, but I actually found some more material in regards of Andreas Karlstadt and all that. It's a huge amount of interesting history in regards to the Reformation. It's like, it's really a wonder that we don't dig more into it. There could be made a huge amount of documentaries and movies about these things, real history movies made instead of these stupidities that is found in the television. If we had a revival, we could really have some good stuff, because there's a huge amount of good stuff out there and interesting stuff, and it's just totally hidden away from us. And yeah, to those that might accuse, how many knows about the Jesuits in these days, right? And about Alberto is just, talking about that. So that's, already there. He's talking about the Jesuits. He's talking about the Knights of this and that and different groups and all that in regards. So in a time where it's, where the world has just become silent about it, Anyway, to those that might accuse me of being a secret servant of Rome or a soft on the Jesuit or other type of slander, again, he might actually be turning this on the other side, flipping it. Remember, Satan can speak truth and he can also flip it 180 degrees. So the question is, who is slandering who? That's the thing. So, where he's just trying to make an excuse, I don't know. But anyway, all the type of slander, I would say they are ignorant of my testimony, our ministry, and how I spent my life witnessing to people to come out of the great hall, and for Christians to separate themselves from her sinful practices. To help educate people on our ministry, I've copied an article that was written by Derek's TCS magazine and pasted it below. A better copy with the proper words, bolded and italicized, can be read by downloading the attached words document and so forward. So again, but you would expect in regards of damage control. Okay, so maybe this is. I have copied an article that was written for Derek's TCS magazine and pasted it below. Okay. So this is actually, this thing is down underneath it, and that's where he actually talks about, where he actually points out some of the doctrines that is actually true, but he says it's, He says, we teach God's people that the Jesuits have infiltrated Protestantism with false futurism. And then he, in regards of the brackets, pre-trib, rapture, future, antichrist, 1,000-year earthly reign. Are you saying that there's no 1,000-year earthly reign? Anyway, the restoration of old Israel with animal sacrifices and many other false interpretations of both Old Testament prophecies and the book of Revelation. Okay, so, I think we have a problem in regards to the 1,000-year earthly reign is pretty much, that's something that Rome was going against very early. So again, I guess that's a red, yeah. So, but of course he's still keeping to, the Jesuits are, and against the Roman Catholic, but that, a Roman Catholic could do that, and still be working for Rome. If Alberto was who he said he was, you would expect them to react to, do some damage control, I guess it's like the Jews, so, in regards of damage control, in regards of Yeshua, that's like a document that's called Toldot Yeshu. That's what they call him, Yeshu. That's an acronym for may his name be obliterated or blotted out and so forth. But anyway, but it seems like that's a damage control document. Actually, a pretty interesting document, but they're not denying the miracles that Jesus did, but they are trying to make it like that he's a magician and so whatever. Anyway, it's called Toldot Yeshu if anyone wants to look into that. I think it's an interesting document because that's one of the documents that actually talks about. Oh my. Did I actually print that document out, by the way? But that actually talks about, them sending an enemy to try to, and that enemy, according to the document, actually is Paul. But that's another. that's actually, I actually had forgotten that source in regards to Paul. I made a video on that topic. In regards of all the sources that I've found in regards of Paul. Let's see, Toldot Yeshu, Paul. I have like a collection of all the material that I've found here and there in regards of views on Paul and all the puzzle pieces. Like the Ebonite material in regards of Paul, the Martian prologues to the Pauline epistles, who was a pro-Paul guy, and it was very interesting because it's very interesting to read. Even if he's anyway, and then we have the Toldot Yeshu, which also talks about Paul actually being a guy that is sent on behalf of actually, making issues. So that's another source in regards of Paul. What do I have more? I think I have more, but I can't remember it at the moment. But I made a whole video where I put all of the information out there, which I had gathered, collected together. Oh yeah, we have. I have this book. I have this. No, what is it actually? Oh, there we go. I have this book I read from Ray A. Pritz, Nazarene Jewish Christianity, and I was looking into regards of those that got closest or was closest to the in regards of the the Nazarenes and the Anabaptists and the Spanish, where the Jews and the Christians, the Gentile Christians and the Jewish converts to Christianity begins to work together, and they are using the Jews are teaching the Gentile Christians in regards to what they know, in regards to the festivals that are found in the Torah and so forward, and the Christians are teaching them about Jesus Christ, and it's like, and it seems like it actually went too far in regards of Satan didn't like that, and thereby, so when you have the law and you have mercy together, that's, you know, you can really be persecuted on that account. So, but anyway, this book in regards of Ray A. Pritt's Nazarene Jewish Christianity, he's a professor or something like that, and you know, he collected a lot of information. It's an older book, but he also have two references as well in regards of the Nazarenes and Paul and all that. Oh yeah, we also have, that's in regards to the Ebionites. We have this medicine chest as well. Speaking about the Ebionites rejected Paul as a, you know, and actually, I think they was talking about that. Yeah, he was the. There's other sources as well. I don't know about those sources in regards to the Dead Sea Scrolls, but some believe that in regards to the Dead Sea Scrolls, that this is actually also talking about Paul in regards of the spouter of lies and so forward. I haven't really looked deeper into that. I've seen some of it, but I haven't really gone deeper into that. But if we look on the Ebionites material as well, they also talk about that enemy. And who is that enemy? Well, it doesn't name him, but the characteristics in the Ebionites document, you know, yeah, it couldn't be anyone else than Paul, according to the, you know, so, and we might have had a lot of material actually censored throughout the you know, in regards to history, that has censored the material that might actually, we have a Danish guy that's called Kierkegaard, and he seems to have seen the same issues. And actually, it's not something new, because a lot of people have actually seen that there was some problems with this guy. Of course, Jesus also talked about a wolf, since, you know, he talked about an enemy coming, you know, and so in the bad season. And that's the thing, when you see the Ebionites material, which they probably had a lot of the documents from the Nazarenes, which is the original Jewish Christians. Just have to just when you have the Ebionites and the Nazarenes, you have, you know, when you see that it's talking about Jewish Christians, if you can see what kind of doctrine they believe in, you can pretty much divide if it's the Nazarenes or if it's the Ebionites, because the Ebionites did not believe that Jesus was God, but there's a group that comes out of the Nazarene group, and they come out later. The original group believed that Jesus was God, you know, that he's the Son of God and God in the flesh, and that he was born by a virgin, where the Ebionites did have problems with that and thought he was, you know, just natural, you know. So, but you had to remember, even if the Ebionites material that we have, even if they did not believe these things, you still have to remember that they probably got some of the material from the Nazarenes, and, you know, it's just, in any case, there's actually a lot of information in those material that actually points to Jesus being God, even if they didn't believe him to be God. But anyway, you have to divide what is true and what is not true. Yeah, because anyway, it's more like storybooks where somebody took these doctrines from them and, you know, fixed a document and a story around it as well. So anyway, so that's different sources in regards of that. Of course, the video that I made on YouTube is not to be found because. But, you know, I remember I just pretty much went through all my stuff that I found, that I digged forward in regards of Paul, and also of course Paul's material himself. According to Paul, all Asia left him. That's one of his last letters that he wrote. People are quickly running to 2 Peter in regards of, you know, and then they never go further in regards of questioning Paul. And anyway, We also have the book of Revelation, of course, and we have the words of Jesus, and we know that an enemy had to come afterwards, sowing the bad lawless seeds or the poisonous darnel among the good eatable law-abiding seeds. And they would grow up together in the field, which is the world, until the harvest, and the harvest is still future. So we expect that both the darnel and the weed is growing up together, as it is the case. So, but anyway, yeah, it's whatever. People don't really like you when you talk about these things anyway. So, I guess there's probably, there might be more information out there in regards to these things that I haven't found. Again, there's an ocean of material out there, an ocean of documents, We haven't even translated all the things that is out there into English, It's incredible how much information we have. So even if Satan have censored some of the actually censored a lot of the information. Like, for example, Melito. I would have loved to read more in regards of Melito. And Melito was one of these, I think he lived in the 2nd century, but he's living at the right place in regards of Asia Minor, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's one in regards of one of the 7 congregations that Jesus is making John write to, Apostle John. And we know there was 2 apostles in that area. And if you take Paul, that would be 3, but it's 2 apostles, real apostles that actually walked with Jesus, slept with Jesus, ate with Jesus, and heard his teaching and so forward. And that would be the Apostle John and or in Hebrew, Yohanan, and the other apostle is Philip. So you can actually find his grave place. Actually, I have it on my. I have it in maps. Actually, it should be there, and that's where they believe he was buried. If I remember correctly, they also have the place where Mary were buried in Asia Minor, someplace. I can't remember where it is, but now, of course, let's see here. Okay, can we actually go out? Well, it's a little slow apparently, but. It's in nowadays Turkey in regards to the grave place for Philip. So in regards of what we already have of some of the information in regards of seem to be supported by yep. Let's see if we can find it. It seems to be missing some. That's probably there we go. So I don't have that many in Turkey, so it should be pretty easy to find the grave place. Probably, maybe it's down here. Not sure where's this. Okay, let's see. See if this is the place. So that would be in Asia Minor in regards of nowadays Turkey. That's probably a lot of interesting things in Turkey in regards, because that was where the 7 congregation was, and actually it was in Asia Minor that the first couple of hundred of years, that was the place where the greatest light were. I think it was actually here, Hierapolis. Probably still need to load, but I think. I can't remember exactly, but hopefully it will come up here and show if it's actually in regards of Philip or not. But anyway, so Philip was in the area, John was in the area, and probably a lot of others that actually had seen Jesus and walked with him and so forward and all that. Of course, Paul had also been in that area, but we know that all Asia left Paul, according to his own words. The question is then, why would all Asia leave Paul? And maybe we would need to look in the book of Revelation, for example, or listen to the words of Jesus and collect the puzzle pieces and then understand why they actually rejected Paul as an apostle. So, but anyway, yeah. So if you take the 7 letters to the 7 congregations and in regards to the doctrine, and then look on Paul's doctrine and so forward, you might find, you might find some problems. But anyway, so not only in the New Testament do we see things, we also find sources outside, and yeah. Anyway, I don't know if that was, yeah, it seems to be a little slow to actually load. Maybe I think it was the right place, but yeah, because it has to be Asia Minor. The Ankara is too far away. I do wonder what have been there actually. It seems still slow to yeah, okay. Oh, there we go. Let's see if something comes up here in regards of Ankara. Again, I have no idea. I can't remember why okay. So there's a Museum of Anatolian Civilization. I have no idea what that is about. Yeah, okay. So it should be the other place. That also seems more in the right place. So the 7 congregations is over here in this area, you know. So, and John was said to be, what island was it? That's a good question. There should be an island that he was. I can't remember where it is. Anyway, the information is out there on the internet where people go through, and some of them are actually going around in regards to Turkey and all that, and you know, telling you about things and all. Very interesting. But again, you know, there's a huge amount of things to study and so forward. So, you know, okay, let's see if we can get Phillips. No, still nothing. There's not really anything with. Oh well. I just thought that there was actually, but it should be here. It should be here in regards of where Philip is said to have died, the Apostle Philip, awaiting resurrection until everlasting life and so forth. We have a wonderful letter from Asia Minor as well. And there's 3 things in that letter that just, you know, pretty much, you know, destroys so, you know, many of. For example, the Bishop of Rome have written to these people in Asia Minor. You know, it was very early on that this you know, system began to work. You know, already in the 1st century, we have the bad seeds growing up with the good seeds. So it was very early that it's happened and so forward. But anyway, we see the Bishop of Rome already believing that he has the authority to decide over others. And the ones in Asia Minor, you know, we have a bishop in Asia Minor that pretty much writes a letter back to him, telling him, you know, in regards of better, you know, it's better to stand on God's word than in regards of men's doctrine or something. You know, I can't remember it word for word, but you know, it just shows that they did not accept man-made doctrine above the Bible, the scriptures. And it also shows, so they didn't take the authority of the Bishop of Rome above the scripture. That's one point. The second point is that they believed that people were sleeping awaiting the resurrection, so not directly going to heaven. The third thing was that we can see that in regards of them keeping Passover, because that was the issue, Rome wanted them to keep Easter according to the traditions, which is not biblical, and that's what we are keeping today, which is not biblical still. And Rome won out in 325. You know, anyway. But this is before that. But anyway, we see that they're actually keeping the festivals found in the Bible. And he talks about that this in regards to the Passover, goes back to the Apostle John, and then he gives a lot of names, in regards of, this line of. So anyway, so when people are saying that this and that, it's just we can see that in Asia Minor they did keep according to the Torah in regards of so-called Jewish tradition, right? And also Melito believed in the 1,000-year reign on earth, and we have another guy that as well. And Rome doesn't apparently like this doctrine, so they, it was seeming very, very early. Well, they began to attack this doctrine as well, even if Melito is a really, close source, and when you read some of the things that we have access to today, it's just so wonderful, some of the things. Sadly, we don't have that much from him. We know that he wrote some very, what can be seen in regards to the title, that must have been very interesting material, like, for example, some in regards of the book of Revelation. So, anyway, that would be very interesting to have a window into a second century view on the book of Revelation, So yeah. So yeah. I can't remember what Alberto Rivera actually believed in regards to the 1,000-year reign and all that. But Alberto really seemed like he, had a lot of study in the Bible, yeah. I don't remember that in regards of, but anyway, something, again, the more one reads the Bible, the easier it is to catch things that is in, if someone has been a priest for 20 years or 30 years or something like that, they should know a lot of the things that is biblical, right? And if they're straying from, of course there can be many factors. So, but anyway, just helps you. I don't know. I guess it's just all up in the air at the moment for me in regards of figuring this out. Now, of course, in some sense, it doesn't. Well, I guess it does matter in regards of what is going on in this world. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm done. I should probably stop now. But anyway, read the Bible, be careful of Satan and all that. And again, in regards to all the deceivers and all, that's the thing. Again, if I can figure out, if I can just figure out who is lying here, because someone is lying. Someone is clearly lying. That's if it's just. Maybe, again, maybe it's just a deception or, a double deception in some sense. I don't know. I just can't figure. It just seems so, Alberto, seems to be legit, in regards of, but then yet again, then I can see it from another perspective that this, in regards, I just can't get, But whatever the case, he is telling a huge amount of truth. Yeah, that's pretty much. I know. I guess I should probably read all the cartoons that he made again, and and see if I can catch something that I couldn't catch in the beginning. It's just. Oh well. I don't understand why. I thought that was like a graveyard thing. I think I put it in there in regards of, but it doesn't show any in regards of the graveyard. Anyway, search on Philip and Hierapolis, and you should be able to find the place where he is said to be buried. In regards of Mary, as I understand it, there is also the place where they believe where Mary was buried. but I can't remember which city it was, but it was in Asia Minor. Now, it is said that John took her with him, and he was also in that area. So that makes sense that she would also be, so I don't know. I'm getting tired. It's not good. And I should actually, whatever. Anyway, have a good one, all of you. Again, study the Bible. Be careful of wolves in sheep clothing, and just again, I'm sorry I can't really be of much more help in regards of this. At the moment, I know that in regards to Richard Bennett, that I was kicked off his page, and I do wonder why that would be, and so forward. That's not really a good. But he seemed to also. It seems like people and his ministry was promoting the heaven hell doctrine, and the same thing is Jack Chick doing, and again, it doesn't seem biblical to me. And if you search on Google, you can find information on that as well, in regards of this doctrine going back to paganism, and then actually in regards of the Bible. And you can just look in regards of the doctrine of hell, and you just if you look hell up, and we actually did that in one of the past videos and all that, and just there's free biblical programs, and you can download one of those. I would suggest the Word because it's portable. So if you install Windows or whatever, again, on the computer, you don't lose any setups. You still have all the Bibles, all the things before. You can take it with you on a USB key, or you could just also have it, on the mobile, and use that as a USB key, and then whatever. But again, you don't lose any the eSword, it's installed directly in Windows, so it's another free program, but it's also pretty popular. But eSword you need to install everything in eSword again. Every time you install Windows, and you can't take it with you. It's not portable. It's very sad that it's very sad that programs have taken that direction, because making things portable just is for the user. It just makes it so much easier for the user. Again, that would be working for the user instead of the user needing to set up all the things again, which is stupid, and having the ability to take your programs with you, all the Bibles, all the things, all the searches, whatever you have installed on that application, you can take with you on a USB. Or again, put it on the mobile phone or something like that, and use that as a USB key, right? Just plug the mobile in, go into where the program is, and there you go, right? Now, of course, you might actually, you might need to copy some files over to the computer. I don't know, in regards to the mobile, because these mobiles are usually, again, not working for the user. So it's not, it's not always working as good in regards of accessing your mobile and all that, which actually, sometimes, I have an micro SD card for the mobile. And if I really want to have the free possibility that I should actually have, just connecting the connecting the computer to the mobile, but I need to take the SD card out and put it in a USB thing and put it in the computer to actually have the possibilities that where it's just free, where there's no craziness and all that. Because the Android system makes it crazy daisy, and I can't even connect the mobile to the Linux system. I need to install something, and I haven't really. It's just annoying, It's just why are you putting all these stupidities in, and of control of the system and this and that, Don't. It's just. It gets tiring. Instead of working for the user, it just makes it, yeah. Anyway, Oh, by the way, yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's just, but there is, oh, I'm really looking forward to that. There is a mobile coming. Really, really looking forward to this. Now it's kind of expensive in regards compared to the specifications on the mobile, but you know, I'm really looking forward to that and seeing how how people will react when it comes out and seeing how it will actually work out. It's only 32 gigabytes on the phone, so it's really actually not that much. I don't know how that would work out when it's only 32. Like I have 64 gigabytes on this mobile, and it fills up very quickly. You know, it's pretty much filled up. Of course, they don't make it easy to actually use. Use the use the SD card and all that. But of course, when you get all the crazy daisy out of the software, it will probably not fill that much on the mobile. Let's see, a Librem 5. This will be interesting to see. And here we have the final specs announced and all that. But looking at the specifications compared to an Android mobile, it doesn't really. But it seems to actually, they also, in regards to the boot thing, it booted a lot quicker than Android. But we'll have to see. And the thing is, it's open. You have full control over the things when you have it. It's not in jail like Android. 22 July, is that? Oh, that's okay. So that's an old video. Well, would have been nice with a new video. Yeah, 22. Okay. But it's something I'm following up for sure. To get away from the crazy daisy world of Android and Google and YouTube, Google and Facebook and all these things. Trying getting some freedom again. Instead of being really annoyed over the crazy daisy things that they do and put ads after you. And it's just insane. So. I have the Linux magazine writing about it. Oh well, have a good one, all of you. It's again, I'm just in regards to this phone, and you can still change the battery. It's just insane that they're selling mobiles without actually. Without battery replacement. It's just, it's insane, But that's a whole nother topic, of course. In regards to Alberto, I'm pretty much done at the moment. Again, I have some books from the attackers of Alberto that I could look deeper into. I got some sources here and there on that. And I do have, in regards to the sources from Alberto himself, in regards to this. And that I probably should start with that in regards of Alberto's book, at least, because that's his defense on if it's real or not, and that I think that's fair to begin with that, to listen to the man, and then maybe look on some of the, I found out that Richard Bennett seemed to have helped on a book against Alberto Rivera. So if I want to know more in regards to the views of Richard Bennett, it seems like I need to get this book in regards of, where they, apparently say that he's not a priest and he was a fake. But again, I just, I don't understand how Alberto could be a fake, because he knew so much. Again, either he was a Jesuit or he was a former Jesuit. That's the only things that I can, because he knew so much. He knew so much. He really knew so much, and a lot of the things, that seems to be conspiracy, whatever, actually is proven true, is found to be true. So a lot of the things that I cannot prove yet, it could very likely be true as well. And some of the things seems to go in that direction. Some of the things I can't really at the moment prove or whatever, But a huge amount of the things that I've checked is true. At least, you don't expect to get much truth from the Roman Catholics, that's for sure, This last papers that I'm talking to, it's just... I guess it's just much, the same. But a lot of attacks on this on Alberto are just interesting. How they at least seems to be very, very, going for him. You can see on this Catholic website where they're talking against, And Alberto is one of the two sources on that page. But I have another place where the same question is and so forward, where there are three sources of anti-Catholic material that, if you find it in a bookstore, you need to get some of these so you can show that these anti-Catholic material is fake and blah, 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 whatever. But you can really see how the Catholic Church have removed information that is against them. And again, I have just these three things that I found out in regards of Keith Green, for example, in regards of the Catholic Chronicles that I looked into, where you see that they stopped selling these chronicles, and was told to a guy that was a former Catholic guy, if I remember correctly, and he was told, and he used them to hand them out to Catholics because he thought they were pretty good. And he was told by, I think it was the about the in regards to the wife of Keith Green or something like that, but I'm not sure. But the letter that he got back, that they didn't print it anymore, and he was not allowed to make any copies. It's like, okay, that seems strange. Very, very, very strange, because in regards to Keith Green, I'm sure Keith Green would have, not agreed with that. Absolutely not agreed with that. He was totally just, he was going after Christ, that's for sure. He did have some issues here and there, but we all have. But, you could really see that this was a guy that was really, so... And then we have another thing where they just removes the whole chapter that Billy Graham buys the rights to this book, and this guy that has died that made this book, and so he buys the rights for this book, and the whole chapter of Christian history that the other guy had used a long time, and his wife says that he would never have allowed, that to be removed. And so we see the whole chapter just being removed, exposing a lot of the Roman Catholic and I haven't read it all, but anyway, I have it. I have an older version of the book, where it is actually in it. And then, of course, we have in regards to Walter Martin that in the beginning writes against the Roman Catholic Church and some of the things. Which then, is told that he never wrote this and that and all that, which is a total lie, because, it exists. And then you find out it's also, I bought an older version of the Kingdom of the Cold, and have verified that, it's written in it, that he wrote this, booklet. Yet in the new edition of the Kingdom of the Cold, of the Cold, it's not there. That's very interesting. And then you have people saying that, he never wrote it, and yeah, give me a break. You see a pattern that the Roman Catholic Church are removing information, and it's probably been doing that for, well, actually hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, that they have removed things that hurt them, in regards of truth. Of course, it's just easy to call it slander or lies, and the question is, who is actually telling the truth and who is lying, right? And that's the thing. Why? And one of the places, one of the articles in regards of anti-Catholic material, they're directly saying that we don't, we don't tolerate this. We shouldn't tolerate it and so forward. What happened to free speech? Now, of course, Rome hates free speech and all that. But you can just see also out in the visible that this institution, this maniac institution, is not really, just closing down the truth. And yeah, it's just insane. It's an insane asylum. It's just a wacky institution, It's the most demonic. It just you just look at the torture instruments that this wicked system has invented, or made. It's just incredible evil torture and killing instruments. It's so satanic. Look, it's just so cruel. Some of these, well, actually not most of these instruments that they have worked out are just so disgusting. Just totally disgusting. For it's just insane. It's insane. It's just utterly outrageous. And they will say they're Christians. Christians. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. How can people fall for this, Looking at they didn't want that they don't want people to read the Bible. They have burned people having documents of the Bible. They don't want them to have it in their own language. They have how much do we actually need, and why is all these information hidden away from us, why don't people know anything in these days? Why don't people care anymore? It's just. Oh, by the way, in regards of Christ Mass, you see this pile of documents. This is in regards of, and I've read them all. This is in regards of John Chrysostom. He was a Jew hater. And this is against the Jews, and that's why I read it, because I was looking and trying to figure out what was happening in regards of history and all that. It's funny enough, he attacks the so-called Jewish festivals and so forward, and in regards of Judaizers and blah 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 and so forward, and yet he begins to promote what? Christ Mass, because Rome have this tradition that they knew when Jesus and blah 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 blah. So in the 4th century he begins to promote Christ Mass in this area that he is at. I think he was at the area of Asia Minor, but at least at that area. Yeah, I think it was Asia Minor. So you see him attacking, the wicked, and let's see here. And the people actually, these Gentiles that also do it and so forward. Like, I wish to drive this perverse custom from the church right now. Let's maybe take it a little more in context. What is this disease? The festival of the pitiful and miserable Jews are soon to march upon us, one after the other, and in quick succession. The Feast of Trumpets, well, that's biblical. It's in the Bible. It's in the Torah. The Feast of Tabernacles, oh, well, that's also in the Torah. The law of God, the fast, I'm not, and he's like, this is plural, so I'm not entirely sure why it's plural, but anyway, there are many in our ranks, Christian Gentiles, who say they think as we do, yet some of these are going to watch the festivals, and others will join the Jews in keeping their feast and observing their fast. And again, plural, I'm not sure why it's plural. As far as I understand it, there's only one biblical fast in regards to the 10th day of the Day of Atonement. You fast on the Day of Atonement. But anyway, that's one of the Sabbaths, by the way, one of the 7 yearly Sabbaths. I wish to drive this perverse custom from the church right now. See, it's funny, he's attacking what is biblical. Of course, it's just, it's you see it down, you see the pattern down through history. It's very early on, Satan begins to work and pull the Christians away from the law of God. And you also see in regards of this gospel, or there's 2 gospels primarily going out through the world. One gospel is with the law, and another gospel is without law, and so forward. They're very close together, yet in some sense still far away from each other. But anyway, so he's talking about the Judaizing disease and the Jewish festivals. They always, the Jews this, and are you a Judaizer, right? And this and that. Well, Jesus was a Jew. But anyway, so he's attacking the festivals found in the Bible and so forth. And this is the 4th century, if I remember correctly. And then he begins to promote Christmas. So he attacks what is the festivals found in the Bible, and then promotes a festival that is not in the Bible. And he's really good at, because Rome this and Rome that and blah, blah, blah. And already at that point in 325, we have this Nicene Council where they're like, when you read the last part, they're like, joyous about that we're now all in agreement to be in error. They don't write that they are now in, but they are just happy that we're now all in agreement, so-called all in agreement, to keep Easter according to the tradition of Rome, which is not biblical because it's Easter and not Passover. It's like, we are all happy to all be in error now. Beforehand we had some that actually kept the Passover according to the Bible, and now we are all in agreement to just be in error, all of us. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah, it's disgusting to see. But the thing is, even if this guy is outrageous, you can still get information in regards of history. You can see what is happening, even if we might not have the material of. Actually, I had another. I think that actually was Arabic source in regards of new sources in regards to the Christians. That was something in regards of conflict as well, that in regards of a peace as well, that actually fits this. So again, having some more information what was actually going on and all that. But there was something about that some of the Christians are telling, you have totally strayed from, and we're straying more and more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. And this has just been an ongoing battle, in these hundreds and hundreds of years. So. And it's actually not that hard. We just need to go back to the Bible and say, okay, is this actually biblical? We don't even need to know that these things have pagan roots. Because we just go back to the Bible and say, does the Bible actually have this in it? And if it doesn't have it, you just throw it out, and you don't need to actually do all the research if this is actually pagan or if it actually has pagan roots, which, it all has, Sunday, Christ Mass, Easter, Halloween, whatever, all these things, paganism, and promoting of a Satan clause, a guy flying around and having these godlike powers, knowing every child in regards of bad and good and so forward. Just counting to 24, 25, which is not biblical either. And we actually have something in regards of counting, but that's in regards of Shavuot. But we don't do that, right? Anyway, then we keep Easter and teach our children in regards of the egg-laying rabbit or egg-laying hare or whatever. This seems anyway. What does that have to do with the Bible? Absolutely nothing. But pagan tradition, yeah, we have connections there. Then, of course, Halloween, which the Satanists believe is the birthday of Satan and all that, and they're apparently happy that the Christians want to celebrate Satan once a year. Well, I guess it's just pagan again, but I don't know how much clearer it can be that these. But again, you go back to the Bible, look at it, and it's not there. Well, what do you then do? Well, throw these pagan traditions out. That's just. But apparently it's too hard, apparently, for us. In regards to Sunday, the venerated day of the sun god, Sol Invictus. And by the way, the New Year as well. Yeah, that's pagan as well, in regards of the god of Janus. The biblical New Year is not in winter. The Jews keep the New Year in the spring. Oh, sorry, in the fall. But the biblical New Year is in the spring. In regards of Passover is in the first month of the year. When do we usually keep? Well, even Easter is close to Passover, but they are calculated on different ways and all that. So, but in any case, it's insane. It's utterly insane, and we know these things, and we can, you can just look up in a lexicon. Apparently, people have a hard time looking up things in a lexicon these days. There's not. They're not interested. I just when I began to find out these things, I was like, and you hear, some will tell you, yeah, we know it. Yeah, of course, yeah, I know that. Well, if you know it, why don't you? Why didn't continuing to do it? It's like, just crazy. So how can you continue to do something when you find out it's actually have pagan roots and all that? And so anyway, so you can kind of get this pattern in regards of seeing how more and more filthiness takes over, and of course the Roman Catholic Church in regards to the Dark Ages and so forward. And it seems like people actually want to return to the Dark Ages because no one seems to care about the truth in these days. So it's very, 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 very sad. I would have thought that people would care. But the more that I learn and experience is that people don't care. A huge amount of people don't care. It's like, so what? I was like, so what if this and that? And they don't care. They just don't care anymore. And maybe I was too naive in some sense, that, finding out these things and telling people about it and just, maybe I was just too naive, Maybe I'm still too naive. I still think we can change a lot of things. Just need to get more of the information out there and, get people awakened. I know there are some people out there looking for the truth. So I guess even if it's only 10 people or 20 people or whatever, I guess we can still make a difference in regards of. We just have to stand for truth, so that's the best of our ability. Who wants to live in a world filled with lies? It's just vanity. It's just insane. Anyway. At least there's also people out there in other nations and all that. But, Denmark, that I live in, and people still believe, or most people in this country still believe it's a Christian country. Well, why are people then not doing Christian things? Like reading the Bible and finding out that we actually, they might call this a Christian nation, but look at all the pagan traditions that we have. It's not every time there's a pagan tradition, let's get it, let's get in and let's keep it and let's this and that. But don't come with those, those festivals found in the Bible. Then you are a Judaizer. That's the insanity of which festivals do you think Jesus kept? You think Jesus kept Christ Mass and Easter and Halloween and Sunday? And no, or the New Year of Janus, No. He kept the festivals found in the Bible, in the Torah. He went to the synagogue, the house of meeting, on the Sabbath. Sunday is not the Sabbath. Sunday is the first day of the week. God blessed and sanctified the last day of the week, not the first day of the week, okay? Satan have a way of flipping things around, okay? That's one of the things, He flips things around. Yeah, well, it's just... Oh! My. So, yeah. Anything else? I guess not. I guess I'm just going, yeah. But anyway, I do have the other book to read that where they just, they just annihilated a whole chapter. And I really have to check that out. I had begun reading it and put one video on YouTube and all that. But I didn't really get to go through the whole chapter. That would be something I would like to do, and because I have to read it for myself anyway, because see the material and learn some things here and there in regards of church history. But also, it would be nice to have the information out there for the people. So when they are censoring information, that we are pushing the information out there. Whatever they're censoring, then putting out that information so they don't succeed in regards of removing these things. So it's a battle. It's an ongoing battle between truth and lies. And those attacking the truth are very, very, they are really out there working. And yet those that should stand for truth, it would be nice to have more people waking up and actually standing for it, because we're losing a huge amount of things, But anyway, it's just, people need to stand up and stand for these things, and, care a little, Again, we have so amusement in our society. We have the television and all the crap that is in the television. We have computer games and all the crap that is in the computer games. We have, Harry Potter books in regards to witchcraft and all these occult things that we're now handing over to our children instead of guiding them into the Bible instead, or Lord of the Rings or whatever, It's just, we have all this, paganism and fun stuff and all that, and we never really get to open the Bible, and we can use hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours on these stupid things, or we are, or we have, or we are working all the time, right, in regards of, so we don't have time to, whatever, it's just, We have had 500 years to read this Bible, and we haven't even come further than this. I think we should be utterly, 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 utterly ashamed in this nation. And of course, a lot of the Western world should be ashamed because we have had the Bible that we could read, and we haven't come further. Actually, we're going backward. That's really sad to see. But why, after 500 years, are we keeping pagan traditions? Why are we keeping Sunday? 500 years to change it. 500 years. 500 years. And we're still doing it. 500 years to change these things, to read the Bible, to find out this is not biblical. And yet, they already knew in regards to the beginning of the Reformation. Already we have Roman Catholics telling the Protestants, well, if you're going to follow the Bible, well, you shouldn't keep Sunday. You should keep the Sabbath. That is Saturday. They already told the Protestants about this. Yeah, it's like we have at least two places where this is pointed out that I've found, and that's probably more. In regards to these, they were already saying that, okay, well, if you're going to keep Sunday, well, you're following traditions of Rome and not the Bible. Martin Luther was cornered by that. And we had some believe that we lost in regards to the Council of Trent, I think it was, because that the Protestant kept to Sunday. Oh boy. Oh, it sounds insane. Anyway, whatever it's Sunday is never, ever, ever, ever becoming the Sabbath day, okay? That's actually one of the things the Jews gets right, but they have other issues. Like, for example, they invite this feminine spirit in at the beginning of the Sabbath. I wouldn't do that. I would absolutely not do that. Anyway, that's another. They have that Jewish mysticism and so forward. But anyway, and of course the Jews are used as a scapegoat in regards to they always give the fault for the Jews. Of course the Jews have issues, but it's not those that actually control the world. I was like, oh. Just read the Bible. It's a Roman beast. The horn is on a Roman beast. It's not rocket science, okay? The little horn persecuting the saints, thinking to change times and laws. The little horn that also understand dark sayings and all that, hard sayings and all that in regards of. We are expecting a very clever horn, but it's using it for the bad. Anyway. The thing is, it's on the Roman beast, okay? On the Roman beast. It's coming up, plucking 3 horns out, and there it is. Roman beast, Roman nature, okay? It's not that hard to, again, it's not rocket science, okay? Just read the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation, and you have the whore riding the beast of the number 666, which is also the number of a man, and that man is the poop, okay? The unholy faker, his most smelliness, the triune tyrant, the Roman emperor, the one that set himself up as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, taking the titles of God. Yeah, pretty much actually, Satan wants to be like God. So anyway, the papacy, that great toilet seat of the papacy, the office of the papacy, it is the beast. And the last one in that position and that office will be cast into the lake of fire by Jesus Christ when he returns. Anyway, with the false prophet as well, by the way. Just read the book of Revelation, okay? And the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel helps you unlock a lot of the things in the book of Revelation. The Protestants knew about these things, you know? The Protestants. What does the Protestant know in our days? Huh? Do they even know who they protest? No, because they are now running back to the one the Protestant protested against. Satan is very, very effective. Why don't you just give me a break, just snap out of it and wake up, Anyway, yeah. So who are we going to follow? Are we going to follow the Antichrist or Jesus Christ? Who are we going to accept? Who are we going to, Because that's the choice. The choice is to follow the Antichrist or Jesus Christ. So, yeah. Just, look in history, see what the Protestant believed. It's just all over in our past history that apparently we have totally forgotten and are not, are being hidden away from us. And, there's so many stories, so much history and all that they could, put on television and all that. And what they are filling us with is garbage instead, and sport and, Roman theater, the Roman circus, and all these vanity things and all that, instead of actually some real history in regards to the Protestants and why they protested and who they protested and so forward. Yeah, isn't it funny that we're not getting told these things? It's just interesting because there's a huge amount of books and things on these things, It's incredible. They have been very, very, it's incredible how effective they really have been, yeah. Well, I guess when you have the devil and his demons to help you, that helps in regard. And when people are not, pulling rope from Satan and just, dropping the rope and not carrying anymore, well, they lose a lot of rope. And we have lost a huge amount of rope, but we can begin to take that rope again and begin to work it. Take rope from Satan again. Like the reformers did, yet yeah. Anyway, I found something in regards of Andreas Karlstadt and all that. Yeah, it was very interesting. There's some very interesting stuff to read up on and all that. But again, there's always things to be read, because if we actually knew about these things, it would not be that hard to actually, but. You need if you actually knew the truth, it wouldn't actually be so. But when you don't know the truth, you need to collect information and data points to try to work out things and all that, what is actually going on and this and that. Instead of if you just read something that is, was, already well researched and, would be much, much easier to just, what is happening in regards to the Reformation, in regards of Martin Luther, Andreas Karlstadt, and the rest, and so forward. I actually found in regards of Melanchthon and Andreas Karlstadt, a couple of pages, a couple of pages that also seems interesting. And I found in regards to Andreas Karlstadt, which seems to be a rebuttal or a response to Martin Luther in regards of the weak people. And it's just very sad to see how Luther actually reacted in regards to this. And because of Luther, we actually have, I think. Yeah, I sadly think we can thank Luther for a lot of, it's not to say that he did that all he did was bad, but he did make some really bad things for sure, where he didn't really, it seemed when Luther is coming back that he is pushing the brake. Which is very sad because Andreas Karlstadt is really, moving forward. and Luther is coming back and beginning to, like, I've it seems to be snake talk to me. That, oh, we should, in regards to the weak people, and it's correct what Andreas had done and so forward, and the others, but we should remember the weak people, and thereby we shouldn't move so fast, so quickly. So apparently it went too quick for Luther, apparently. So he comes back to Wittenberg and pretty much breaks this movement, or stops the and begin to return to some of the old false things and all that. Yeah, it's sad to see. But anyway, so I think it's 6 or 8 sermons he make when he comes back. I need to read those. They exist, so that's nice. So I can see how Luther actually, and then there is this. Now that I found a document from 1524, I think it is, to a response in regards of the in regards to this weak where Luther is, I have no idea why. If I don't understand Luther at that point, or actually on many points actually, but of course we have to remember that this is the beginning of the Reformation and a lot of, and these people are actually Roman Catholics coming out of the system and all that, but I think Luther made some pretty big errors, but it's just, I don't know in regards of what, who knows if it actually was for the, I don't know. I just think if Andreas Karlstadt had actually been allowed to go further, that we would probably have been keeping the Sabbath today and not Sunday. We would probably have, well, I guess I'm what shall we say? I wouldn't know, of course. It could have, but Andreas Karlstadt was just pretty zealous of just going back to the Bible. He was like, he didn't think of the consequences in regard. He's like, okay, the Bible, the word says, okay, let's go, And so he was more, he was called a radical, and as far as I can see, Luther got him kicked out of Wittenberg, which is pretty bad because Andreas Karlstadt was excommunicated with Luther because he was his colleague in regards of standing against. So again, it's somewhat mysterious why Luther did some of the things that he did. So, but again, Luther did change over his, but he's still, in regards when Andreas Karlstadt dies, he still writes this really, really awful letter about Andreas Karlstadt. Again, so, and he also writes in regards of heretics, where he says Zwingli is a heretic and the Anabaptists are heretics, and was like München or something like that, but I think they were the ones that was killed off in regards to the peasant rebellion. And this is written in 1541, I think it is, and that's just interesting. Why would he call the Anabaptist heretics, and why would he call the Zwinglis heretics? That's because they are. Yeah, here we have it. For as I began, this is Luther. For as I began to say at the beginning, what cursedly evil sects, and heresies have appeared, such as the followers of Münzer. And this talks actually, this has a number 1 here. Thomas Münzer was executed for his role in the Peasants' War of 1525. And again, I think, this is one of the places where Luther really didn't... he pretty much talks about that, he was the cause of these peasants, those 100,000 peasants that were slaughtered, and... as I understand it from Luther, understand that it was actually his doing with the pen, But any case, or Zwingli or the Anabaptist. So in regards of Zwingli, it goes down to number 2. Huldrych Zwingli, 1484 to 1831, was the leader of the Reformation in Zurich. He and Luther were unable to resolve their differences concerning the Lord's Supper. But they were pretty much in agreement. You know, they came together, and I'm not sure when they came together, but I have the document someplace. But they pretty much agreed on every single thing in regards to this document except one thing, and Luther was wrong. So that's pretty much it. But besides that, they were pretty much in agreement. But one single question, Luther was banging the table and saying, "This is my body. This is my body." Well, Luther, you were wrong. So anyway, the thing is, Zwingli believed that this was symbolic, and so did Melanchthon apparently, which is interesting that Melanchthon would have believed that. And a Danish guy that was down in Wittenberg came back to Denmark and also believed it was symbolic. Andreas Karlstadt believed it was symbolic, and Luther pretty much demonized him. It's very bad, very, very bad. Anyway, so, and I got the same conclusion before I actually began to find out, before I began to read the history, that this is symbolic. I read the New Testament. I think it was pretty clear that this is a symbolic thing, and not, but the Roman Catholics, well, it's funny when the Roman Catholics are saying, oh yeah, he's talking about, this, the bread, you need to eat the bread, blah, blah. Well, Jesus is not standing with a cookie in his hand when he's talking about, and the living bread that came down from heaven, was that the cookie, or was that Christ, the Word that became flesh? Well, the living bread was the one coming down from the heavens, sent from his Father. Yeah, it's just incredible. It's just, but you will, it's like, he's not standing with a round dry cookie in the hand when he says this. He's talking about his body. Oh, well, anyway. It's just incredible to talk to these Roman. It's like hearing these Jews when I was talking with a lot of the Jews, and they had many of the same fallacy views and so forward. And I found out where they actually get these views from, because I was in Jerusalem and invited to this place, and there was this so-called rabbi. And I found out where they got these doctrines from, because they're just repeaters of these so-called teachers. You see, these people, these so-called, these blind guides are teaching these people, and these people are just, repeating what they see as, teachers, so-called, Of course, Jesus said that we shouldn't call anyone a rabbi than him. Jesus is our rabbi. Jesus is our teacher. Our Lord and Master and God in the flesh. Oh, well, anyway. And then it seems like it's the same issue with the Roman Catholics. And you're listening to these priests and the lies that they're promoting, and they just go out and repeat it. It's not because they actually read the Bible for themselves. They are helped in regards of interpreting them, and they just eat it up raw apparently. But I do wonder why, and then he goes on, for as I began to say at the beginning, what cursedly evil sects and heresies have appeared, such as the followers of Münzer or Zwingli or the Anabaptist. And talks number 3, the Anabaptist. The term Anabaptist is applied to a wide variety of religious societies and fellowships which originated during the Reformation. They insisted upon the necessity of rebaptizing believers, hence the name. Now, I must say, in regards of baptizing with water, I don't really see it as a salvation issue as such, because we're baptized with, with the Spirit, right? That's the Spirit that baptizes, in regards of being reborn and so forward. But I still think it's a nice thing to actually get baptized in water afterwards, to show that, in regards of, but Jesus didn't say to the guy on the tree hanging to the, hanging to one of his sides. He didn't say, well, you need to get down from that tree and then you need to get baptized and then you are saved, right? What did Jesus say to them? To him, he said, well, I'll tell you this very day, you shall be with me in paradise. That's what he said. Because this guy believed in, anyway. Oh, he didn't say, hey, wait. You need to get down the tree and have a cookie before you are saved, No. No. This guy, repented and looked to Jesus. That was the thing. I must say in that regard, John, for example, is baptizing with water, but Jesus didn't come to baptize with water. He came to baptize with the Spirit, right? So I'm getting a little tired. I'm sorry if I make a mistake or something like that. Just check the Bible, read the Bible. If I make a mistake, that's very nice. That to know the Bible. Getting a little dry as well in my mouth speaking. Sorry about that. So yeah, again, I might make a mistake, and that's the reason why you need to read the Bible. Because if I make a mistake, I could be a wolf in sheep clothing. So, and there's only one way to actually. That's to grow in the Word of God. Just, yeah. Well. Anyway, so it's interesting to see Luther attacking, Münzer, Zwingli, and the Anabaptists. As I see, the Anabaptists was actually some of the closest in regards of, and they were persecuted from both sides. Münzer, as I understand it, actually these peasants just wanted, to have, a better life. They didn't have it that good, as I understand it, poor and so forward. So, and as I understand it, they actually thought that Luther was with them, actually. As I understand it, actually was because of Luther that they actually ended up, but apparently Luther turned on them, and as I understand it, they felt betrayed, as I understand it. And I think Luther absolutely could have worked this out in another way, yeah, for sure. This could have been handled in a friendly manner and not getting people killed and all that. And yet this, total slaughter. And again, I don't understand why Luther would believe that Zwingli was in regards of heresy. Zwingli just tried to read the Bible, and he also made this document about what he believed, and in regards that the things that he had found out from the Bible, and I think he talks about that, in regards of changing his view, it has to be from Bible and whatever. So I don't know why Luther again. It's just. And the Anabaptists, there was some Anabaptists that ended up in some issues. But when I'm thinking Anabaptist, I'm thinking of the what do you call it? You have a teacher and then you have students. Oh, the students of Zwingli, because the students of Zwingli actually, that's the Anabaptist, but anyway, there's some history on that as well, and the Anabaptist was, persecuted from all sides, both from Roman Catholics and from Protestants that actually should have pretty much been on their side as brothers and sisters, yet sadly that was not what is, because they were seen as radicals and apparently also, in regards of evil, sects and heresies, whatever. Again, Luther really had some issues, that's for sure. But again, one cannot deny you need to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Standing against this Roman, he could have been killed, Of course, maybe one could say maybe he was part of something in regards of but anyway, it gave a breathing room to get the Bible out so people could read the Bible for themselves. So again, he absolutely did some good things, but he also made some really big mistakes, I think. But anyway, but in any case, we can just move on. We can learn from the Reformation and move on. Just go back to the the festivals of the Bible, for example. If we can just smash all the mosquitoes, the more mosquitoes we smash, these, and then we can teach our children these things, and they won't need to fight that. Of course, everybody, we always have to, but at least if we can get a lot of rope taken from Satan and teach our children from the beginning in these things, they might be able to squeeze some other mosquitoes. If we could just have squeezed some of the mosquitoes, they might be able to squeeze some other mosquitoes, and coming closer and getting more and more truth, That's pretty much it, I guess. I'm getting tired. I don't know, and again, I feel like I've only, I only see the top of the iceberg. It's a huge iceberg underneath it, and I don't know how far I can get. We already have a huge amount of things to work with, but the problem is if the people don't want to move in the direction of truth. Well, try to tell people the truth, but, if they are not willing to do something about it, well, it's just, what to do in that way. 500 years. 500 years. 500 years. That's a long time to be able to read the Bible and yet still keeping Sunday and still keeping all the pagan traditions. It's just, why? 500 years. That's a long, 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 long time. We should be so ashamed of ourselves. So ashamed. Having, even in our own language, everybody being able to read the Bible, and yet we are still keeping to pagan traditions. It's insane. It's utterly nutcase that we haven't gotten further out of this. It's just incredible. It's incredible. It's shameful. Totally shameful. But it's not too late, and we can still change these. It's just change. It's not that. And by the way, and the weekdays as well change in regards of getting back to the 7th day actually being the last day. Come on, people. Well, let's see what is going to happen and so forward. I'm not going to back down in any case. I'm going to stand for the best to my ability the truth about the Antichrist, the whole of Rome, the festivals, and whatever else is out there. By the way, in regards to the Ten Commandments, Luther, tended to not put the second commandment in the second commandment. He skipped the second commandment in regards of idols, images, graven images, and all that. And so he still kept to the Roman Catholic. Again, something that can be fixed and all that, and but just just have to. But I do understand it's the beginning of the Reformation. But you have a guy like Andreas Karlstadt that is just, it's just sad to see that Luther didn't actually just. Luther would have been incredible if Luther had just gone back and joined up with these guys, and continued going and yet then it becomes just a total. And I don't know all the details about it, but I think some it's then they get into conflict, and this is his old colleague, and he actually wrote a letter to his to Andreas when he was where he could be killed and all that, where he talks about just move forward and so forth, a friendly letter. And then it could just go totally over in the other direction and be just a most devious letter, Yeah. Anyway, so again, I get you can find fault in probably, you can find fault in everybody in regards to the Reformation, But the question is, they're trying to turn back to the truth and all that, and we can use that to, like for example, the festivals. It's pretty easy to. I understand it's new. It's something new to learn, but when it becomes normalized in society, our children and the children will grow up with it. They will have it as normal, like we. That we with Christ Mass and Easter and all that, and Halloween and all that. We just need to change, and then it will be normal for our children, and they can then take it, steps further, maybe even in the right direction. And again, the more truth we have, the better, the harder it is for Satan to deceive us. And Satan is always going in the opposite direction of the law, it seems. He's always trying to get us away from the law of God. And we should go in the right direction of the law of God. So, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'll stop here. Huh. Yeah. Not much to say anymore. 2 hours, I guess. Oh, well. Bye-bye. I'm getting sleepy. Yeah, well.